it's Em, and I finally read The KAIJU Preservation Society by John Scalzi. It's been on my TBR pretty much since it came out in 2022, and I think one day it came to mind, and I went, oh, I should request that from the library, so I did. I have only ever read Red Shirts by Scalzi, which I loved. My husband has really enjoyed the Old Man's War series, and he has recommended that I try the book Lock-In. But anyway, I do follow Scalzi on Blue Sky. I enjoy his, social media presence. From that presence, he seems like a really great guy, but I know that social media is curated, and I've never met him, so I can only go by what I see and read. Okay, so the KAIJU Preservation Society. This book was, I think, written during the pandemic. It is set during the pandemic. It was published in 2022. The main character, Jamie, this is first person, and I assumed was male, but that is, I think, a pretty common assumption. Somebody pointed out that I think the character is meant to be ambiguous in gender. And I'm like, okay, so I'll probably still refer to Jamie as he, but that's just my take. You could say they, them, you could say she, her. Any of those would be, possibilities. Jamie, at the beginning of the book, works in a marketing capacity for a DoorDash Uber Eats type company called Food Mood, and he gets laid off, but told that he can become one of their drivers, and he needs the money, so he does that, and he has a regular person that he delivers to, somebody he knew kind of sort of when he was working on his doctorate. So basically, Jamie is very knowledgeable about science fiction. I feel like there's a little bit of Scalzi infusion here. Very knowledgeable about science fiction, was working on his doctorate, and then got the opportunity to go work for the startup Food Mood, abandoned his doctorate, and is now a delivery driver. So Tom, this guy who he delivers food to semi-regularly, he kind of knew back in his college days, and Tom offers him a job, a very secretive job that requires going and getting a bunch of vaccinations and all this kind of thing, but it's going to solve his money problems. It's going to help his roommates not have to, move out and move to Colorado or something. I don't know. But the job turns out to be, and this is the title of the book, a part of the KAIJU Preservation Society. There is like a parallel Earth, and this Earth has Godzilla-like kaiju of various types and sizes, and this group of scientists studies them and also tries to get them to reproduce, because kind of like pandas, they're not super good at it. When two kaiju come together, they're more likely to fight than to mate, I guess. Basically, the first half of the book is Jamie making friends with 3 other newbies, but they're all scientific doctors, astronomer, biologist, chemist, that kind of thing. And Jamie is a grunt. He is basically a gopher of sorts. He goes around saying, I lift things. And it ceases to be funny very, very quickly. But okay. There's also the running joke of, oh, that would be a great name for a rock band. That comes up pretty regularly as well, and is also not that funny or clever. It's just very old humor of sorts. The kaiju also are all named after, well, they're not all named after, but they tend to be named after very strange pop culture references, like the 2 they're trying to get to mate are Edward and Bella from Twilight. So the first half of the book is that. The second half of the book is preparing for a bunch of visitors, the governments and the billionaires who fund this project. They send people, they want to come see this alternate planet, they want to see the kaiju and all that kind of thing. They want to see where their money's going, and sometimes they ask to like hunt the kaiju and they're told they can't, and that's a bummer for them, I guess. So the second half of it is Jamie's old boss being one of these tourists, and things happening. I'm not gonna spoil it, that's just the setup. And the reason we have Godzilla and stories like that apparently is that sometimes the kaiju get through to our side, and there's kind of a places where the barrier is thinner. There are circumstances under which crossover is possible, that kind of thing. It's all very kind of hand-waved as far as science goes. The kaiju have some kind of nuclear reactor biology that, I mean, is hand-waved by saying, well, you know, we're studying them. We don't entirely understand how it works. Animals this size shouldn't be possible, blah, blah, blah. You know, a head nod to the science of like, yeah, it shouldn't be possible, but clearly it is, and we don't understand it. I gave it 3 stars, and there's a couple things. The characters are not very deep. This is a very glib book, I want to say. You don't really get any character depth. It's all very, I think it thinks it's clever. It's maybe not as clever as it seems to think it is. There's a good amount of diversity. You know, we've got a they-them character. We've got a lot of female scientists and things. The weapons trainer is female. It's kind of like, ooh, look. And I think that's all done with good intention. It just feels a little obvious, maybe. Because we don't get a lot of character depth, the reasons for these characters to be so diverse feels like unexplored. I guess you could say, well, people from every country, the governments that are sending people, okay. There was something about it that just didn't feel genuine, I guess is what I want to say. But again, that's just my reading of it. That was just my take. I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm all for diverse books. I just felt weird about the way this was done or presented or something. I can't really put my finger on it. And it's a personal thing. So yeah, like I said, I gave it 3 stars. It was fine. It wasn't as fun or funny as I wanted it to be. And without the character depth that I typically like in a book. Like, I don't mind a book being funny or silly if it is genuinely funny or silly or clever. If you're not going to give me a lot of that, if that's not what the book is, then give me some character depth. The book is short. It's only 258 pages, at least this hard copy edition is. So it is what it is. It's supposed to be escapist, I guess, but considering it's set during the pandemic, and that's a big, I don't want to say a big part, but a pretty significant part of the story, the springboard, as it were, and the reason for a lot of things, then I guess it's not, I don't know, it doesn't feel that escapist, maybe, especially since we are also pulling in real world issues of you know, bureaucracy and billionaires and whatever else. So yeah, I mean, it was cute, but not as cute as I wanted it to be. It was fun, but not as fun as I wanted it to be. It was clever, but not as clever as I wanted it to be. And that's why it gets 3 stars. I guess I'm just a little disappointed because I do love red shirts, and I think I was expecting something more like that, something at that level, but this is not that. I don't want to be harsh on this book, and it's not terrible. It just wasn't quite up to the level that I wanted. So, if you've read the Kaiju Preservation Society, let me know your thoughts and feelings on that, or other Scalzi that I should read, or things similar to red shirts that I should maybe consider reading. I am now reading the Secret Book something Society. I don't know. It's the first in a series set in a small town called Miracle Springs. It's by Ellery Adams, and I've only just started it, so I'm not that far in. There is a murder mystery element to it, and a group of women in this small town coming together to potentially solve the murder. So, yeah, so that's where I'm at, and again, let me know your thoughts, and until next time, take care.